What's up, folks, and welcome to Math Walkthroughs with Mr. Weeb. Today we are representing the subtraction of fractions in our Lesson 3 Your Turn questions. Let's get to it. It says estimate each difference and explain one of your estimates. Okay, well it looks like we have 4/5 minus 5/8. Well, I know that 4/5 is close to 1, right? 4/5 is close to 1. And then 5/8, let's color code this. Okay, we've got 4/5 and we've got 5/8. 5/8 is, I should say 5/8 is fairly close to just over half, right? It's fairly close to a half. So if we change this to 1 minus a half, right, then we're going to have 1/2. So this can be our estimate. Then let's look at 13/5. Well, I know that 5/5 is 1, so then twice as much as that would be 2, right? 10/5 would be 2. So 13/5 is going to be more than 2. Let's say it's about 2. And 2 take away a quarter is going to be 1 3/4, right? So 2 take away 1/4 is going to equal 1 3/4. So that can be our estimate for there. And then we have 9 9/10 take away 8/9. Well, 9/10 is about 1, and 8/9 is about 1. But which one's actually bigger? Well, since the pieces here are smaller, right? 1/10 is smaller than 1/9, so I know that this one is slightly bigger. So if we're taking this one away from this one, we're going to have just over 0, just a little more than 0. And I might explain it like this. 9/10 and 8/9 are both close to 1, but 9/10 is a bit bigger. That means the answer is a little more than 0. The next question says, put these values in order from least to greatest. Well then, let's figure them all out. I can see that it's easiest to subtract when we have a common denominator, right? These are not common yet, but I can change this guy. I can make an equivalent fraction that will have the same denominator as 12. All I need to do is take that. I need to take that 3/4, and I need to multiply it by something to get to 12. So I'm going to multiply both the denominator and the numerator by 3, because I know that 4 times 3 is going to get me to 12. This becomes 9/12. This is much easier now, right? Now we can say 10/12 minus 9/12 is going to give us 1/12. That's that one. Okay, next we have 1/2 minus 1/10. Again, I want to make this into a common denominator with this. So what do I need to multiply this by to get to 10? I need to multiply it by 5. So we've got 1/2. I'm going to multiply both the denominator and the numerator by 5, and we will get to 5/10. 5/10. Okay, next, it's fairly simple. We just rewrite the equation. 5/10 minus 1/10 is going to give us 4/10. There we go. And finally, we can make this into 6 fairly easily by multiplying it by 2, as long as we do it to the numerator as well. So we've got 1/3, multiplying both the denominator and the numerator by 2, and we get 2/6. So next we rewrite the equation. 2/6 minus 1/6. It's the same thing, but now it's easy to do because we have 2 take away 1, which is going to be 1/6. That's it. Now we just need to figure out which one goes first. When I'm looking at these, I can see that this is one piece out of 12. Let's say we had the same shape, right? And it was cut into 12 pieces. Well, I'd only get a very small slice of that, right? If I had to share this, whatever, pizza, let's say it's a pizza, and I had to share it with 12 of my friends and I only get one of those pieces, well, it's going to be a fairly small piece. But if I get that same pizza and now I'm sharing it with 6 people, well, I'm going to get a bigger slice. I'm going to get twice as big a piece. So even though this number is bigger, when it's in the denominator, that means you are dividing that piece into 12 pieces, and this means you're only getting 1 out of those 12 pieces, whereas here you're getting 1 out of 6 pieces. Okay, so this one is smaller, this one is bigger. What we have to do is figure out, where does this one fit? I think I can safely say that this one is number 1, and now it might be helpful to see if we can get 4/10, to be simplified. I know that both of these share a factor of 2, so I can divide both of them by 2 to see if I can simplify it, and that becomes 2/5. Well, this might help us quite a bit, because like we said, when the denominator gets bigger, the slices get bigger. Or sorry, when the denominator gets smaller, the slices actually get bigger. So, and also we have 2 slices now of bigger pieces of pizza. So this is going to be the next biggest piece, and this is going to be the biggest piece of all. So it goes 1, 2, 3. Or put another way, this is number 1, this is number 2, this goes number 3. All right, let's look at the next question where it says, how might you model 2/3 minus 2/7? Describe how to use your model to subtract. First, I might draw a square, or at least a rectangle. So there's my shape, and I'm going to divide it into thirds, divide it into 3 rows here, and I'm going to divide it into 7 columns. So now I've got it split into 3 rows and 7 columns, and I'm going to color code this with red and blue, and let's put 2 out of 3 rows with red circles in them. So 2 out of 3 rows with red circles. Oh, they're squares. Okay, today they're squares. So we've got 1/3 filled with squares and 2/3 with squares. Next, we have to take away 2/7. So let's fill these 2/7 with blue squares. Next, I'm going to move a couple of these over here to show that these blue ones are taking away these red ones. Or being, yeah, they're canceling each other out there. So what have we got? We've got 2/3 minus 2/7 equals, how many have we got? Well, we're looking at how many of these red ones. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 out of how many total boxes do we have in this shape? Well, it's going to be 3 times 7, because finding the area of an array like this is just 3 times 7, which is 21. So it's 8 out of 21. And to describe how to use my model to subtract, I might say something like this. First, I made a shape with 3 rows and 7 columns. Then I covered up red squares with blue squares, showing them being taken away. Next, they have us creating a problem that could be solved using 4/5 minus 1/2. How would you solve it? All right, here's my problem. I have half a cup of oatmeal left, but I need 4/5 of a cup. How much more do I need? The way that I think about this is as subtraction as adding on. So for instance, I would have a shape like this, which I would divide into, let's say, 5 columns and 2 rows. The reason I'm doing that is so that we can show 4/5 easily. If it's split into 5 equal pieces this way in columns, then I can show 4 out of those 5 pieces easily. And in this shape, I'm going to show half, right? So here I'll label them, or at least highlight them so that we can keep them color-coded. Okay, 4/5 is going to go into the first shape. The first shape I will label as 4/5. The second shape is 1/2. Here we go, putting in the 4/5. Here's 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/5, right? Because 4 out of the 5 equal sized pieces-ish are filled, okay? And then 1/2, let's put the blue boxes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So hopefully now we can see that this is not only 4/5. We can see that it is also 8 out of 10. And the half has become 5 out of 10. And when you have two numbers that have two fractions that have the same denominator, it's much easier to add and subtract them. So we've got 8 pieces, subtract 5, and I'm thinking of it as adding on. What would I need to add to these 5 pieces to get to 8 pieces? Well, 5, I know, plus 3 is 8. So the answer is, I need to add 3/10 to get to 8/10. And in a sentence, the answer would look like this. I need 3/10 of a cup more oatmeal. Next it asks, how could you use what you know about 4/5 of 40 and 3/8 of 40 to figure out 4/5 minus 3/8? So let's take these one at a time. First, let's talk about 4/5 of 40. First, let's figure out our unit. Our unit is 1/5 of 40. A fifth of 40, 1/5 of 40 would be like taking 40 and dividing it by 5, right? Dividing it into 5 equal pieces. So 1/5 of 40 is going to be 8 because 40 divided by 5 is 8. Then, if you needed 2 pieces or 2/5 of 40, you would just double that, right? 2/5 of 40 would be 16, and 3/5 of 40 would be 24, and 4/5 of 40 would be 32, right? So 4/5 of 40 would be 32. Next, let's move on to 3/8 of 40. Okay, if we have 1/8 of 40, if we have 1/8 of 40, that's going to be 40 divided into 8 equal pieces. 40 divided by 8 is going to be 5. Okay, so if you had 2/8 of 40, that would be twice as much. That would be 10. And 3/8 of 40 would be 15. Okay, but what does that mean? Well, let's say we took 4/5 of 40 minus 3/8 of 40. Okay, say we took 32 minus 15. What would we get? Well, in our heads, we should be able to go from 15 to 30, which is 15 more, and then 2 more than that to get to 32. So that would be 17. The answer is 17. Since we're talking about 40, it's 17 out of 40. So the answer is going to be 17 out of 40. Finally, what is 7/8 minus 2/3? Well, I'm going to put this into a common denominator. How we're going to do this is we're just going to multiply both the top and the bottom by 3 over here, and we're going to multiply the top and the bottom by 8 over here. So 7/8 times 3 times 3 to get an equivalent fraction, which is going to be 21 over 24. We're going to change 2/3 into an equivalent fraction. We're going to multiply this by 8 and this by 8. Because you can see, if we're going 8 times 3 and 3 times 8, we're going to get 24, which is a common denominator, which is very helpful for us. So we've got 24 here, we've got 16 here. Now it becomes 21 over 24 minus 16 over 24. Well, how much would I need to add to 16 to get to 21? Well, I could add 4 to get to 20 and 1 more to get to 1. So it's 5. This is going to be 5 over 24, which is right here. That is the answer, and that's it for today. Thanks for watching.